the ground. There we go. Dissociation is interesting. Amnesia is basically dissociation. Yeah. To open the damn door. Oh. Hi, I'm Jessica. I'm gonna be playing Amnesia. Open. Oh. Off to a good start. Yes, I am starting now. No, you don't have to yet. I'm Jessica. I'm with my lovely assistant Diane. She's my twin sister. We're going to be playing Amnesia. We're going to be playing Amnesia. This is mostly going to be like a normal walkthrough, but occasionally we're going to put in commentary, because we are playing this game. I can't pick up that brick. We are playing with this game with the intent to analyze it to some degree as an interactive Gothic text. So we may occasionally discuss it in context of other Gothic texts and in the context of the Gothic genre. And we're probably going to talk a little bit, maybe, about falling over, freaking out. Okay. Talk a little bit about how this game being interactive. No. How this game being interactive affects its status as a Gothic text. So, like, in particular, I want to talk about the Sublime, which is more or less terror, but like, over to your right. What's over there? I'll get there. Sublime. The Sublime is more or less terror. So, like, I could have done that. More or less terror? Yeah. The Sublime is more or less terror. Stop talking while I'm talking. The Sublime is more or less terror, but with a cathartic effect. Burke? Something Burke. Yeah, he's wigging out. He'll just do that. That's fine. Oh, it's over here. I got it. Here. Burke. Edmund Burke. Okay. So Edmund Burke wrote about the Sublime in a philosophical. Can you read the name of that text he wrote?
Sure thing. A philosophical inquiry into the origins of our ideas of the sublime.
Pick that up. Yeah, he wrote that, and in it he talked about the Sublime. And one of the beneficial things he said about the Sublime is that, give me a second. It's not right. I don't know what I'm doing. Back to the game. Is that, the Sublime exercises parts of our brain that we don't normally exercise. So, emotional parts of our brain. I'm opening doors wrong all the time. And terror is one of the faculties we don't exercise very often. So, there's an amount of pleasure in being terrified. And we can explore how the gameplay elements and the cinematics of the game that can't be present in a literary text affect its ability to bring us into a state of the sublime. this flip now. That's fine. Yeah, that's fine. It's fine. This is okay. Whoa!
Okay, so it's like, I'm gonna climb up this wall now. Oh, that's,
Even that's moving.
wow, everything be kind of like all over the place.
Yeah. So, this is...
Why do, like, doors keep opening? I'd be like, not going in there.
No, it's fine.
Oh, it's a person.
It's fine. You're nothing.
It's supposed to be canvases.
Uncanny visses. Ah, there's a Gothic literature joke.
Be like, JPEG artifact.
No, that's actually, something Taylor. Can you look up the last name Taylor?
You didn't alphabetize these.
No, I didn't. I wrote them according to how I might remember them. Lori Taylor in article name.
Gothic bloodlines and survival horror gaming.
Yes. She describes why the whole, like, Daniel going crazy makes the screen flip out thing, actually helps to situate this game and other survival horror games that do similar things in the Gothic genre, which is really interesting.
Was there anything in that room?
No, it was just
It
was just a dark room full of things that might scare me. At this point they're terrifying. At this point in the game, it's attempting to terrify me through things that I know are supposed to be terrifying, like old castles and things that shouldn't, breezes that come out of nowhere, stuff like that. And I'm not buying it.
I'm above this base level.
Crap. I do know this game will have better terrifying stuff later, so we'll just wait for that to happen.
I suppose. How can we go through all that gear?
We didn't. It's in the fridge.
I suppose I could, like, you probably don't want me to interject with
No.
stuff about video games.
No, I don't. No. This is my project.
Okay, next time.
Yeah, next time. Anyways, this is a survival horror. We are trying to survive rather than thrive. Is one, Lori Taylor talks about that too. And it's purple crap, I need to follow it. Air books, I don't need to follow them. Daniel's wigging out. I know. I'm standing in the lights, Daniel. Freaking out. So yeah, survival horror. Emphasis on surviving rather than thriving, and with horror themes, quite obviously. I can't shoot anything. I can't fight anything. I have to run away from stuff. I know that's not typical for I missed for gameplay. So that's one way. Gothic literature typically includes transgressions. They're normally moral transgressions. Horror kind of is built on moral transgressions versus terror, which is built on suspense and the idea that something scary is going to happen, which is what the first part of this game mostly hinges on. In here. No, it's fine. Look. Did you see it? Did you see it? This is my lantern. Did you see it flip out on me? It's like, here I am. Hey. We're going there. You just, okay, you can't, you're not allowed to do that. no dungeon-based game. This is
Yeah.
a survival horror.
Yeah.
That's what we're talking about.
Yeah, no. I'm just saying.
No. So, the whole screen going crazy thing, and if you notice the cutscenes, how you're still allowed to move in the cutscenes, but they really screw with how you do things, like how you move around, and sometimes something will happen and Daniel will just flip out and kind of fall over. These are all things that it's him freaking out, he's chewing on his teeth or something like that. Yeah, he gets scared. I'm a wimp. Not gonna lie, if I were Daniel, I'd be flipping my crap. Yeah. But, me finding this awesome chest, oh, there's nothing in it.
Oh, man.
I got
You
some...
can wield some shit. Look at that upper body strength.
Shh, no swearing. Let me out. I'm not gonna...
You're not using this part.
No, this is just the walkthrough part. Let me finish my talk about survival horror. I don't even remember what I was gonna... No, I wanna pick the candle up. Okay. I don't... yeah, so... no, I was still talking about survival horror. I was talking about how, losing control as a player is not typical for gameplay. The player is supposed to learn the controls and then master them, and then kind of use them as, an extension of themselves, and their actions throughout the game. And the fact that horror games kind of transgress or like subvert this norm of video games situates them really well right in the Gothic genre, because Gothic is about transgressions, and it's about pushing the boundaries of psychology, like your psychological limits. I think I'm supposed to go to that table.
I would suppose you would be correct in that assumption.
Well, look at this oil.
Oh, dang. There's a piece of paper here.
I see that.
Don't be afraid, Daniel. I can't tell you why, but know this. I choose to forget. Try to find comfort and strength in that fact. There is a purpose. You are my final effort to put things right. God willing, the name Alexander of Brandenburg still invokes bitter anger in you. If not, this will sound horrible. Go to the inner sanctum, find Alexander, and kill him. His body is old and weak, and yours, young and strong. He will be no match for you. One last thing. A shadow is following you. It's a living nightmare, breaking down reality. I have tried everything, and there is no way to fight back. You need to escape it as long as you can.
Yeah, it's really British. I'm trying to look for it. Do you see paper number 3? Where's paper number 3? Paper That's 6, 5, 7, 8, 9. 3.
These are the things that I need you to hold.
Okay, alright. And 5.
This is the sublime paper. There are other papers. But Daniel's...
Where are you supposed to go now?
I need to search around. I know where I'm supposed to... Oh, there it is. Boo! Let's go over here, though. Daniel's Amnesia actually fits really well in with, the gameplay and the, cinematic elements such as sound and light, as elements that, would or can create, well, first of all, a cohesive thing, you know, as a text, right? So the form matches the function more or less of this really well. In that things like him going insane in the darkness have a lot to do with, according to some research I've done, research by, what's her face? Rebecca Stern, about light in the Gothic novel, and how light creates a sense of subjectivity. So, like, being an individual, having an identity as a person. Yeah, for right now. And this how the sound.
Alexander, is it inside the castle?
In a manner of speaking. Come, bring the lamp. You've been to the refinery, have you not?
I don't believe I have. Is it connected to the... what did you call it?
The inner sanctum. My most precious chamber, Daniel. And it lies well beyond the refinery. In fact, it lies beneath the very stone of Brennenburg.
Anyways, like I was saying, sound creates a nice little connection between player and player character that is wow, that's interesting in terms of freaking tinderboxes are so hard for me to pick up. I don't know why. All these stupid bugs. There's a tinderbox. Austin told me how to put a little thing in the middle of. That's not it. Yeah. I just don't. Ah, there it is. I found it. Okay, now I can pick up tinderboxes properly. Alright.
Oh, it's probably you're too far away.
Nope. I'm just really horrible at stuff. I missed. No, I was covered in this crap. Oh man, there's so much about this video game I want to talk about, but I can't. Because I don't have time. Like this crap? What's his face? Pinchbeck? Something Pinchbeck? You look that up for me?
Pinchbeck, Dan Pinchbeck.
Dan Pinchbeck from the article
Shock, horror, first-person gaming, horror, and the art of ludic manipulation.
Yeah, so like survival horror aren't typically first person. They, because of technological limitations, they started out being third person with fixed camera angles, which Lori Taylor also talked about. Lori Taylor, right? Lori Taylor, yeah. She talked about that. The history of the. Yeah, see, I didn't do that. The game did that for me, and it freaked me out. Oh, it made me turn around with that sound. I was just like, I'm walking up these stairs, and someone's like, ugh, and my. Maybe. No, I'm not going to. No, I don't want to do that. But like, oh yeah, Lori Taylor talks about the history of survival horror gaming, and yeah. I don't think I can get out of that door. Do I want to go in here? Do I want to go in here? Well, whatever. And Pinchbeck was talking about how horror games aren't typically first person. And he also talked a little bit about how, having a huge overarching, like, nemesis, like this shadow that's following Daniel, this like Imperial Gothic-esque occult force from the colonies, if you will. This is set in 1800s or something. Makes it really like, it's not, you wouldn't think about it, because I mean, like, the point of gaming is that you're supposed to beat the boss, but in this case the main boss, or the main force, this shadow, can't be beaten. And he also talked how it screws with people's minds and things like that to have these those growths on the wall back there we saw. It makes like a living environment that sort of tells you and your avatar that normal rules don't work here. I see the letter. I'm just chatting.
16th of May, 1839.
Look at this. Look how Imperial Gothic
The
this is.
unflinching African sun has continued to plague our expedition, making it impossible to dig until dusk.
Well, if
How
I start
Professor
to get
Herbert managed to
rolling.
find the location in these vast plains of nothingness
pretty much.
remains a mystery to me.
Yeah.
When I asked him about the tomb again, he told me about the legend of Tin Hanan, the mother of us all. An interesting story in its own right, but I can't help feeling there's more. Later that evening, we uncovered a passage beneath the dunes leading to a sand-covered stone structure. The professor was confident it was the tomb we sought, and ordered the others to clear the way late into the dark, cold night. Tomorrow, I shall lead the men into the ancient structure, hoping to reach the burial chamber. No matter what the professor is keeping from me, the dig should yield something interesting to take back to London and the British Museum.
Yeah. Take it back to London with you. That's a good idea, Daniel. You're an idiot.
We found this stone, and we should probably take it back to London.
Read the thing about the Imperial Gothic. First, find out who wrote it. It was, Brentlinger? Ooh, Brentlinger.
Patrick.
Patrick Brentlinger.
Rule of Darkness, British Literature. Do you want me to read it out loud?
Well, you don't read the whole section out loud. The first quotation.
Imperial Gothic combines the seemingly scientific, progressive, often Darwinian
Yeah, that's good.
ideology of imperialism with the antithetical interest in the occult.
Yeah. So, basically, around the Victorian era, there's a lot of repressed fears about, going into foreign countries and colonizing them. And being colonized in return by the colonies, and there was also a lot of skepticism based around faith. So like people are really doubting how much religion could tell them about the world, stuff like that. So what you get is you get a lot of these narratives where the colonized become the colonizer, or like the savage pushes their way into Britain, things like that. Or the occult follows you home, and then you have to use science to fix it, or else science makes it worse. So there's a lot of those kind of themes in this game. You'll pick up on it, especially the science versus the cult bit in the later bit. Also, fears about what science can and cannot do. Obviously, around the 1800s began to be a big theme. You can tell in like Frankenstein. I mean, that's a pretty big can man be God and create life kind of stuff.
17th of May, 1839. My hands tremble as I write. I feel a need to document my tribulation, for I fear that my memory will fail me if I linger.
It sure did.
Today, I took some men and ventured into the dark, ancient passage we uncovered. Our torches burned faintly in the murky air as we slowly made our way underground. The men were superstitious and fearful. They argued loudly, and I felt their strange language getting to me. I mustered my strength and yelled at them to continue down the slopes and broken steps. The crudely carved passage confused me. It looked much older than the 4th century structure we had expected. The twisting path emerged into a great antechamber. The walls were lined with statues unlike any I'd ever seen. Despite their unearthly quality, I felt a strange familiarity toward them, which haunts me still. At the far end of the chamber, a great slab of stone sealed off wherever I was trapped.
Got bored. Yeah, and also fears of going savage were a big thing, as you can tell. It was strangely familiar to me, and I was concerned about that. You know, like that kind of. Oh yeah, and that becomes a big thing. Yeah, Heart of Darkness-esque kind of crap. It becomes a really big thing later in the game. No, we're closing stuff, so I remember where I have been and where I haven't been.
You didn't really go anywhere.
Yeah, well, that's good enough. Well, a lot of these passages kind of twine around, I noticed. Like, this opens this way and that way. Whoa, wait, no, wait, this is a completely different hallway.
That helped a lot.
That didn't.
You sure are settled down.
If there's a monster, can I throw a book at it?
Maybe
Is that
that
allowed?
would be helpful. There's a bunch more candles you can
I'm trying not to waste all my candles. I only got so many tinder, and I'm really bad. I like.
It's such a weird noise. I don't know. So yeah. I don't know if that really characterizes any sort of like natural noise a person makes out of nervousness.
No, I think it's his teeth chattering.
Maybe that doesn't really sound like teeth chattering.
I mean, my teeth don't really chatter, so
Sounds like a bump.
my,
Experience is limited.
yeah, like, my frame of reference is not a good one.
Just made me think of all those bugs.
That might be it.
Teeth grinding.
I don't know.
I'm extremely
Deal with it.
yeah, just kind of like bothers me. It's pretty wiggly for
Yeah, I know. Alright. I guess it serves. You see that? The piano totally was just like, I'm closing.
It was like,
I'm like, ugh. Okay, I know where.
briefly
I get it.
remembering something I was going to say. So.
I just want to start talking about the Sublime here because I'm starting to get nervous.
Yeah.
Like I said, the Sublime is about terror, which is different from horror. Terror is suspense, or more like worry, where the thing you're afraid of is not necessarily immediately present. While horror is more like shock and tends to be more about moral transgressions and confusion between good versus evil. Both are useful for their own purposes, but Sublime's more or less about terror in particular. So, you have my notes on the Sublime, right? I think it starts on that page that you're on. Well, no, that's
Sublime Burke.
yeah, horror versus terror. Can you read the bit? Burke. Burke, when he talks about Gothic literature, he mentions Anne Radcliffe, Radcliffe, and she's the one his jumping point to talk about horror versus terror. So after this
Much of the castle
uncanny
is old
cutscene.
and
We'll
hasn't
talk
been
about that.
tended to for centuries. When the shadow arrives, it won't take long until things start falling apart.
We're just buying time anyway. Let's do what we can.
There isn't much to be done about the wars. We should reinforce weak structures. The ground will tremble, and there's a risk everything will cave in on us, especially downstairs. Here, and there. Let's get the servants working on it.
Under terror horror, can you read the quotation by Anne Radcliffe, quoted in Berg's piece? It should be outlining green, I think. And maybe a lighter shade of green. There's several greens. It's on page 2.
Ready?
Yeah, go for it.
Terror and horror are so far opposite that the first expands.
Wait, there's a cutscene.
Oh dear.
Oh, we're freaking out.
We're really freaking out.
Okay, get up, Daniel.
He's on coma right now.
17th of May,
Not interested.
1839. After pounding the unforgiving stone wall for what seemed like an eternity, I realized it was hopeless. I was trapped. I fell to the ground, gasping for air, trying to focus. That's when I saw a faint blue shimmer.
Nice job,
My weakened
Daniel.
body was heavy to carry, but I managed to push myself toward the enchanting light. It was waiting for me. Enclosed in dark nothingness, I felt myself drawn to the mystic light. I reached out, closing it in my hands. The faint glow escaped my fingers and began to spark brightly and spirit me away, unlocking alien memories of spiraling towers, endless deserts, and impossible geometry. The next thing I can remember is the grating sound of stone being lifted, the voices of the Arabs pulling me to safety, and grasped firmly in my hands was the broken pieces of a most peculiar relic.
The narrative.
In the same place.
Yeah, I am. The narrative of the haunted mansion is not nearly as interesting as this one is.
It doesn't have to be the same level.
Anyways, read about it. Yeah.
Terror and horror are so far opposite that the first expands the soul and awakens the faculties to a higher degree of life. The other contracts, frees, and nearly annihilates them.
Yeah, so Burke argued that that's not so true about horror, or not as much as you'd think it would be. Because of the moral aspects of horror, how it either reinforces your morals or causes you to question them, things like that. I mean, it has its own purpose, and later in the game, there's definitely that sort of thing going on. Needless to say, I've watched a couple walkthroughs.
The chandelier?
Screw this chandelier!
I have a beef to pick with this chandelier.
Let's break stuff.
Ah.
But yeah, the Sublime. Can you?
Wow.
I annihilated this wall.
Can you go through it?
Yeah, I can. Look up the Sublime for me. The first quotation under Sublime. Could you read that?
You have
Wait,
to be
after
swift
this.
when you activate the first one. You hear that? If it stops, you'll have to start over.
It's the.
Isn't all this a bit excessive?
You can never be too careful, Daniel.
Under privation. Sorry.
That's like
Yeah,
extremely not your-
I know. I forgot about all the other parts of the Sublime that I also was going to talk about.
Transportation, that's actually like the seventh.
No, privation's a really big thing in this game, though.
No, I'm not saying it's like a like
Damn it.
Transportation is all I'm saying.
Damn it. I can't control this.
Throw it. There you go. I can't control this book. It's out of control. Another region rich with lore.
No, we're
is
not gonna,
Allstead,
we're not gonna
deep
read
within
this.
the East Prussian
No.
woods. 4 centuries. Oh.
So we're in Prussia, and we're in the 1800s. This is important. For the record, Burke said that, I think it's Burke, said that the Gothic literature tends to be set in places that are far in space and time from us, which is good, because I don't like things that make me feel like there's going to be something in my bedroom. This certainly doesn't, because my bedroom is not a castle. Where?
That's some interesting way.
Yeah.
Well, I like Prussia, they're over there, like, spending all their money on the neutral time castle and all that stuff.
Yeah, but, so, privation, yeah, read about privation.
Oh, sweet. Okay, privation. All general privation are great, because they are all terrible. Vacuity? Darkness, solitude, and silence. The first word.
Vacuity means greatness, or no, emptiness.
Mindlessness, I think. That's word out loud before.
Vacuity? Yeah, it's not a common one.
Kind of like vacuum. I assume
Yeah, it's kind of just like vacuum,
the same
because,
thing.
yeah,
But
come on. Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah! But, so, vacuity means emptiness, or mindlessness, which are both fearful. Yeah, it makes you think that the screen's freaking out, but actually the bookcases are just weird. Silence, darkness, and something else.
There's a key. Oh, what's the key?
What's the other thing? Solitude, silence. Solitude, silence.
Darkness. Vacuity, darkness, solitude, silence.
Yeah. So we got all of those things right now going on, right? We're in an empty castle. Losing our minds. I'll read that later. Empty castle, losing our minds. We are alone. There's plenty of darkness, and there's plenty of silence. And how the game plays with all of those things really helps to add to this sense of terror and the sublime.
Got the charm.
I wonder if they hide anything behind these books ever. Like,
I did.
I think it's behind you.
Alcohol.
Shh.
Oh, there's a dresser.
Yeah.
Surely they put tinder boxes in there. Where else would be logical to place more tinder boxes?
Yeah, that never made much sense to me, but, you know, whatever floats a boat, wherever you want to put your tinder boxes, Alexander.
Whatever floats a boat.
So the door has opened. Where might I need to go? The darkness does a huge thing, too.
Sure, skittish.
So that way.
Potions make them live in like human forms, like dust and stuff like that. Not intensely, just like to allude to the idea that you might not actually be alone.
Well, yeah, that's the thing. They do that all the time.
Oh, I know, but just like
The use of sound and light to reinforce the idea of privation in this game is actually really artful.
well, it's just that's more of like a side thought of like utilizing the sort of
Where do
what
I...
is it? The
Where's-
eyesight on the side of your
Is it here? buddy. This isn't it. I'm lost. Where am I?
Like if you see something over here. Like on the side of your head.
Peripheral?
Peripheral. Yeah. Shh. Shh.
Monster music. Monsters. Yeah, and what sucks is he's running really freaking slow. I don't know if there is a monster, but that's monster music, and I'm gonna assume that there's a monster.
I didn't think monsters came this early.
I didn't think so either, but apparently there's monster music. If there's monster music, there's monsters.
The safety scan.
Yes.
Why are you standing in front of the door?
Because the music went away. See, sound cues are really important in horror games.
I haven't watched as many films.
I've watched enough walkthroughs to know what the monster cue is.
I'm not really interested in. Why are you doing this so much?
I'm scared because there's monsters.
Yeah, but we haven't really confirmed monsters yet.
No, but I don't want to confirm a monster. I'm scared of monsters.
Where are you supposed to go?
We walk forward slowly, and in a very meek, and ultimately,
Towards the monster.
yeah,
Is that
terrified.
supposed to be where you're going?
Yes. The point is the monsters get in the way of you and your goals. That's one of the ways. That's actually one of the ways video games make things more terrible and terrifying than a typical literary text, because, you know, there's goal-based things. I mean, there's also sound and whatnot. But the...
Are you talking to me specifically?
No, I'm talking...
There's apparently a cow.
Yeah, that's cute.
Dinosaurs.
What is that sound? I don't like it. I want it to stop immediately. I'm scared. Okay, we're good. Oh, what was I even saying? Oh. Yeah, so, control, goal-based things. The sense of control you have over the character. Son of a duck. Oh!
Okay, so apparently you're not supposed to do that.
We're fine.
I think we learned something.
We're good.
A lesson. It irritates me how different light tone.
Well, don't worry about it. I was saying things about control. Having control over your player character and sympathizing with them on a level of you know, similar goal-based things, and you know, narrative, basically just being like, hey, this is a good character. And that's different than in literary text. So in this way, video games are more capable of creating a sense of the sublime, perhaps you could say, than a typical Gothic text, because they scare you not only with the words and the situations, but also with light and sounds, and the continuous fear that you're going to die, even if that's an empathetic fear rather than a real fear. I'm going out. Going out.
Well, if you see unsettling things or you hear something,
I suppose he's already dissociative, as you've said. Maybe
that
that.
doesn't necessarily do anything. I mean, it's assumed to be
sublimes, one of the things I want to posit is that because our character already lacks a sense of identity, lacking knowledge and a sense of identity, that's also part of the sublime, is a obscurity. They call it. Obscurity creates terror as well. Not knowing our past, not knowing our self-identity, not knowing basically anything, helps to increase that fear. And also, being out of touch with general reality really doesn't help that either. The privation, the being alone, well, particularly being alone, really kind of reinforces this idea.
There should be more couplet. Let me see. And 1 part aquafortis.
That's probably more. So, due to the fact there's no one around, Daniel doesn't have anyone with whom he can relate and reinforce his sense of identity. So, in other words, our sense of identity are often created in juxtaposition to other people. And Daniel doesn't have that. He doesn't have other people. He doesn't know who he is, and he can't really figure it out by relating to other people. Can you read the last name on my name list? Kurt Reisler, what's the name of the text?
The social psychology of fear.
Yeah, he talks about how even if you don't know something, someone else probably knows something, and that reassures you. Daniel don't got that. He's on his own. He's a poor guy. Hear that? You hear that? You hear that? You hear that? You hear that? I did hear that. Oh. Footsteps. Sounds. The way the sounds break the silence. I mean, it's not real silence. There's still this creepy music going on. But, it ruins the sense of Bakutian solidarity that we have. It says there's someone else here. But the problem is there's not supposed to be someone else here, right? This is an empty castle. You go home, there's footsteps upstairs when you're alone. That's going to be freaking terrifying. It goes back to obscurity. There's another dude who talks about obscurity in survival horror video games that I read. He's on the list. Can you get the list? It's the word. It's the title that says the word obscurity in it.
Simon Patterns of Obscurity, Gothic setting of light, and Resident Evil 4 and Silent Hill 2.
Yeah. He's a guy. He talks about obscurity in video games. I'm building a lot on that, like the way obscurity comes out in a lot of different forms to create terror. And the sublime. Occasionally getting a sense of the sublime around here. I haven't felt it yet too much, I don't think. I mean, like, I don't know what the sublime's really abstract. So I'm not like, that's the sublime, I just felt it. But the idea that the mental or emotional faculties of terror are being exercised in that regard, yeah, I'm feeling it. Hume kind of posited something a little bit more intense about like there's an element of awe that's supposed to be present, like being overwhelmed. I'm not so sure about that yet. I don't have awe or respect, but I certainly feel some adrenaline. Blah blah.
Where did the Baron go? Who cares? He left us enough wine to last us a lifetime. Or at least until tomorrow.
I can't see anything.
There's a candle there.
So, I mean, juxtaposition. What's his name? Nidental? He talked about awe and accommodation. Actually, I'm kind of creeped out.
That's okay, you can just throw that.
Wine. You know what? We're in a wine cellar. Why don't we have any wine? I'm upset. Because I'm scared. See, in Rebecca Stern's article, she talks about how light can dispel the obscurity of darkness, but it also reveals your hiding spaces, and in fact when you're in total darkness you can't see that which is scary. So it's actually the presence of light itself is what reveals to you hidden scary things. I don't know.
You just told me to watch my language.
Yeah, I know, I'm gonna bleep that out and put something stupid. I don't like these flies. Yeah, they're open. What's that? I didn't even close that door. Ah!
You just got punked.
I sure did.
That's not what that is. That barrel just punked you right in the face.
Damn barrels. I just lit that candle. Get off the floor. You're the one who's like, don't use your tinderbox. You don't walk around in the dark, you jerk. What's wrong with you? I am using my lantern. Are you proud of me?
I mean, I understand the desire to be trying to frugal with resources, but
Well, I'm sure if I searched a little harder, I'd probably find more stuff. Yeah! Yeah! Oh. Lame.
oh no, I guess you're not going on that way.
No, I am. Push this.
What a sudden and unexpected inconvenience. How easily you're rolling this giant boulder that's easily probably as heavy as you are.
No, it's fine.
Thank God that even though you sound like I believe, you're actually quite strong.
All British men in the 1800s are very strong and formidable.
Oh, that's where
Because they're adventurous and strong-willed and proper and civilized.
That reminded me of what I was going to say earlier. I was going to make a joke about Arthur Conan Doyle. Have you ever read any of his short stories? I mean, he had the whole Sherlock thing, but he had some other things where all of his main protagonists were basically the same, like, I'm super manly type of guy.
I'm super
They all had,
manly.
like, super
Sherlock Holmes practiced a real martial arts, that was actually a thing. Make me mad.
No, it's just some British guy.
Like, I mean, it exists, kind of. Some British dude went to the Orient, like, kind of learned martial art. Ah! But I
That's
mean,
pretty much everything that had to do with that. No, seriously, are there like he just created these at the time super machismo.
I really wish this would move. I'm really frustrated with this thing not moving.
Why don't you move the boulder on the other end?
Wow, let's try and be logical. You think you're so smart.
I am smart.
I don't care about you.
But all I'm saying is, like, Arthur Conan Doyle, man, that guy, the stuff that he did.
Yeah, well, all British men were like that. For the Empire.
Every single British man, he's exactly like that.
All of them.
This is not an exaggeration. You might be standing
Until
in
the
front
World
of
War.
You might be pointing full into your own face.
This pole is so wedged in this. How am I supposed to move this? Can I just... I'm gonna pick this up. I can't pick that up. I can't pick it up.
Darkness. Closing in.
Shut up. God. It's not even that bad, Daniel. Nobody can get in. The door's locked. Yeah, there's someone walking upstairs and there's not supposed to be anyone here. It's not that big a deal. It's only slightly horrifying. Not horrifying, terrifying. Horror is a different thing.
Well, it's modern colloquialism.
Not really. They have different connotations, don't they?
More or less.
Look at this stupid log. It is so stuck. I tried that.
What happens when you're like mindless?
I don't know. I kind of want to find out. Someone says he killed himself.
That's kind of impressive. Can you push the log?
That's what happens when your brain annihilates itself.
Well, not quite.
No, I mean not realistically, but in fiction, that's what happens.
Well, that's the solution.
This is it. This is the end of the game. We
did
can't
it.
move this log.
Well, there's some different ways your hand indicates itself. See if you can push the log.
No, because look, the hand indicating itself is the door. I'm kind of scared now. There's someone walking upstairs. I'm not into that. I'm not about that scene. Wow. What? Wow.
Oh, wow.
Fuck this log.
You did it. You moved it like that.
Don't move it at all. No.
Is there something? Can you hit it with the other log? Can you wedge a rock in between it? Can you go get like a brick or something and throw it at it?
You hear those sounds?
Yeah, well, your character is slightly insane. I don't know if you noticed this.
You figure out why later. And guess what? It has
Well, I
to
would
do with.
assume.
Yeah, it has to do with
Don't tell me.
the thing.
I'm assuming it has something to do with this one.
I might just give up for now.
It's pretty fun though, actually. Yeah, try.
If you get this log like unlodged, I swear to God, I'm gonna be so mad.
It's D.
W pushes it S pulls it. It's on your hand.
W pushes it.
Yeah. S pulls it towards you. D pulls it to the right.
Here you walk.
W. Oh wait, I think I know what's up. I think I know what's up.
What?
Give me the thing.
Get out here.
Forgot that you could use no, you can use extra force. The left. Fuck this log.
For real though.
For real though.
Well, I'm glad we spent like the majority of this gameplay session like screwing around with
The
this.
log. Hello world. This is so much better. I'm not scared at all. The game's like, you managed it. You did it. Okay, are we good?